Good evening, my name is MD and this is the fourth branch project, the first and only program which is dedicated exclusively for those with common sense, a spirit of patriotism, and a determination for a more perfect union. The content of this program is not for everyone. To find out if it's for you, there are two questions that you need to provide answers to. Number one, would you entrust your teenage daughter to a known rapist? Number two, would you have a known pedophile care for your toddler? If you have difficulty answering either question, this program is not for you. If you answer yes to either or both questions, this program is not for you. You can close this video now and move on to something else. If your answer is absolutely not to both questions, you should stick around. This program is a very special program you would not want to miss. It is 1 minute to decide whether you want to stick around or you are able to stick around, or you should move on to something else. If you are still here, it's safe to assume that your answers were absolutely not to both questions. And again, I repeat, this is not a program for, it may not be suitable for everyone. The topic tonight is the state of the Republic. The state of the Republic, and subtitle, Are Republicans Dumber Than Democrats? I did warn you, the program is not suitable for everyone. The state of the Republic, are Democrats, are Republicans dumber than Democrat? Stick around. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, my name is MD and this is the fourth branch project. Today we have a special program, and the title is Are Republicans Dumber Than Democrats? Now, for those of you who do not, who have just found about this program, rather call it project than a program, but in any event, it can be used, terms can be used interchangeably. The Fourth Branch Project is actually, we have started this project with one goal, one objective in mind, to perfect the Union. And to do that, we discussed a number of topics which most likely going to be social political topics, but the difference between what you may be used to and the topics discussed in this project is the following. We do not just discuss for the sake of discussion. Of course, we debate, we discuss, we analyze, but we do have the ultimate objective to propose a solution, or at the very least to reveal the point of the discussion, because again, the ultimate objective of the Fourth Branch is to perfect the Union. And there are a number of factors we are well aware of which prevent such perfection from being achieved. And I might want to say ahead of time that we are under no illusion it is an easy task, nor are we expecting everybody to participate or to even offer their help or their participation. Nothing good ever comes easy, and we're well aware of that. In fact, in the very first episode of this project, I did mention that I rely almost exclusively on a principle of George Washington, one of the founders of the Republic, that it is sometimes better to go it alone than to have a crowd which serves no purpose. So having said that, today's topic: are Republicans dumber than Democrats? And just a side note that every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. we have a regular program. Today is just a special program. We have been discussing in during the past few Saturdays in a documentary, the series Can Donald Trump be compared to Adolf Hitler? Now, before any conclusion is drawn, of course, judging by the documentary that we currently discussing on Saturdays, and by the very title today, the conclusion can be easily drawn that this person that you're looking at is a damn liberal. Now, for sake of information, I am neither a liberal, which I, by the way, consider as a negative connotation used by Republicans to refer to Democrats. So regardless, I'm neither a liberal nor a Republican. But for sake of conversation here in this program, I refer to Democrats as Democrat, to Republican as Republicans. I do not use the other terms that seems to satisfy one group and being used to insult the other group. So when I talk about Democrat, you'll hear Democrat. When I talk about Republican, you'll hear Republican. So any other label used by whether it's progressive for Democrats, who seem to have caught up with the idea that the word liberal is used in a very negative way, and a Republican who seem to love the word conservative because it makes them, it sounds better, it makes them feel good. So from me, you get neither. You get Democrats or Republican. in any event, the title today, are Republicans dumber than Democrats? Now, in all fairness, this is not anything new. This is not a conversation that started this year or that started a couple of years ago. This particular question has been asked a number of times. In fact, it's been decades since that question has been asked. Which party has the smarter individual? Now, if you talk to Democrats, they will tell you why they believe that Democrats are smarter. And if you talk to Republicans, they'll give you reason why they think what Democrats think is not true. But interestingly enough, or ironically enough, you'll find that most of the time they do not, most Republicans anyway, they do not say the opposite. They simply go defend the idea that Democrats are smarter than Republicans. That doesn't mean in both parties there are always a number of people who think otherwise. Some Democrats, well, I would say just a few, would think that there is no, it's not a general concept that Democrats are smarter or Republicans are smarter. They will tell you, and mostly Republicans, I found out talking to them, that they tend to think that there are smart people on both parties. So they do not think Democrats hold the key to the smart people or vice versa. Now, one question that I guess that needs to be asked, if indeed that's the case, meaning if Republicans feel a certain way, or Republicans feel that Democrats are no smarter than Republicans, and Democrats feel that's also the case, then why is the question been lingering around for so long? As a matter of fact, it's been around for so long that the past 5 to 7 years, there has been scientific studies made to answer just that very question. It's just to give you an idea as to how long this has been around, that it has gotten to a point where even science decides, well, we got to take a look at that issue. Is it what really triggered that very question, and whether there is any truth to the actual question. So, because the question was asked, and was asked many times, and because the question has been asked throughout the many years, and now that science has been taking a look at the very question and trying to understand, not just science actually is not trying to understand the question, but science is trying to understand whether there is any truth to it, whether there is a party, in that case Democrat, whose members are smarter than Republican. And of course, depending on the finding, the finding, of course, will guide us to the answer. But the finding, the science is not trying to answer the question as to what then. Now, this is where we come in. This is where the fourth branch come in, because as I mentioned, we do not just come and talk about a topic just for the sake of topic. We talk about it because there is, for two reasons. Number one, to educate, so that, well, at the end of this conversation, you know exactly who is the smartest. Not just a hunch, not just, well, you don't care, but rather because we put a lot of emphasis on removing ignorance out of the conversation, because we have determined that the biggest stumbling block, not just here in the United States, but across the world, for any kind of institution. The major stumbling block is ignorance. So if there is ignorance, there cannot be any progress made in any aspect of any organization or any group. So having said that, anyone who is interested in moving the needle further down towards perfection has to have interest in knowledge, has to have interest in being informed, has to have interest in removing ignorance. And before I go on a break to come back and discuss this, I have to say that if anyone is claiming, if anyone claims to be to want things to get better, if you hear, this is actually the important test, because anyone who claims to want things to be better, and I also want to make a general point. Not any point in the existence of the Republic that you will ever have a uniformity across the board. Even if there were to be a single, one unique political party in the country, you would never find that everybody in the country would work towards perfection, because that's just the nature of mankind, that there will always be a group of people who, for one reason or another, do not want things to get better, do not want things to work for the sake of the majority. They always stand in opposition to progress. So we understand that as we're trying to work towards perfection, we understand there are a number of obstacles that we have to remove. And the major one at this point is ignorance. So there are others, and we understand that there are others, but in our journey, we have found out that once that part is removed from the conversation, it becomes a little bit easier to actually get to whatever the goal is, to whatever the objective is. And I also want to make the difference between ignorance and stupidity or foolishness. Ignorance is when you are not in possession of knowledge of some kind. For instance, if I take my personal example, I am not an astrophysicist, so when it comes to that aspect of life, if I'm among astrophysicists who are talking about whatever aspect of their trade, of their profession, then I would be in that circle an ignorant individual. Now, which is very different from being a foolish or a stupid person. Now, a stupid person would, number one, refuse to acquire knowledge, and even when the person acquires comes in contact with information that would have moved the needle from being ignorant, they tend to want to stay in the circle where they are, because they, for reason that again nobody can understand, they prefer to stay in the lane where knowledge, they reject knowledge, or they reject any form of educating themselves, so they stay as fools. And there are two types of those fools in the world: those who cannot change, and those are the worst, and those who will not change. Now, as bad as it sounds, those who will not change, there is a little bit of wiggle room to help them get out of their predicament. So I don't want the terms ignorance to be confused with the terms fools or stupid, because there are plenty of stupid people, and that's really, and I don't mince words when I'm talking about one group of people versus another, because the point is to identify a problem in order to bring a solution. And one of the problem that we have identified when we started the project, the fourth branch, is ignorance is a major factor. For now, we pretty much tend to push aside foolishness and stupidity, because it's a very difficult task to try to educate someone who just doesn't want any education, to try to reason with someone who just couldn't care less because they prefer to stay in their state of mind. 2 plus 2 will always be equal 4 for someone who wants to learn, who didn't know that. But for the stupid, they don't care whether it's 4 or 5, and if you try to demonstrate that it's 4, that foolish person would probably hit you or hate you because they just don't want to learn. So we focus on those who may not have knowledge on particular topic and who would be eager to get that type of education and work towards removing the ignorance aspect. And we know ignorance is dangerous, and we've been saying that on the program, that ignorance is the biggest threat to democracy. So we try to remove ignorance out of the picture in order to get to the point where we can reach perfection. Because if anybody claim that they want to work towards perfection and at the same time they ignore knowledge, they ignore education, and they just outright, because I can tell you from reaction that the minute that I put a particular program, title of a program out, a number of people either send me tweet to curse me, to scream at me without even knowing the detail. So I already know which category those individuals belong to, because you cannot just by reading a title and decide what it is about, because you cannot just by reading a title decide that, well, it's about those damn liberal cursing or talking bad about Republicans. So the title today are Republicans dumber than Democrats. There are two aspects to the discussion that I want to bring forth. The first aspect is, of course, the study, the scientific study that have come up with some answers to that question. And of course, the main point to the discussion is not just for the sake of telling you about it, but also to say, okay, now that we know the answer, then what? So that's what this program is about, is to try to get to the bottom of and to remove obstacle. So ignorance is the main obstacle that we're trying to remove in this project. And of course, to do that is not a matter of coming one day and remove it, is to educate about several different topics and present a way forward, and hoping that maybe not this generation, maybe the next generation will be able to take advantage of the knowledge and move the needle further towards a more perfect union. So hang tight, I will be back to discuss the finding, the scientific finding, right after we take a short commercial. I'll be right back. My name is MD, and you are watching the Fourth Branch program. See you Saturday at 10:30 a.m. for a very lively discussion. Be there.
Your one item would be the Name Your Price tool?
It helps people save on car insurance. Why wouldn't it save me?
Why? What would you bring? A boat?
Huh.
I'm telling you, Michael Jordan himself was right here in my McDonald's. I fixed him the very first McJordan special.
Right, Bill.
I did. I took a quarter pound of pure beef, smoked bacon, cheese, and some of my favorite barbecue sauce, and I named it the McJordan special.
Bill, the sandwich, definitely great.
Yeah, but you got the cooling with that story.
But it's true.
How you doing, Bill?
Hi, Michael. Michael.
The McJordan special for a limited time.
Whoa! That is some group of people. Thousands. So nice. Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you. It's great to be at Trump Tower. It's great to be in a wonderful city, New York. And it's an honor to have everybody here. This is beyond anybody's expectations. There's been no crowd like this. We used to have victories, but we don't have them. When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China in a trade deal? They kill us. I beat China all the time.
Donald Trump has transformed America in ways no one could ever anticipate. One can only guess where the country will be at the end of his presidency. We have, however, captured the journey to the Oval Office in the book entitled Defiant for America. They said he didn't have the guts to run for public office. He proved them wrong. They said his presidential bid would not last a few weeks. He proved them wrong. They said he could not become the nominee. He proved them wrong. Get a copy of this book and follow Donald Trump in his journey to make America great again. Found at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everywhere online. Get your own copy today.
I'm Jeff Gannett, CEO of Macy's, and I wanted to take a moment of your time to thank you for being such an amazing customer, because I truly believe that Macy's customers are the greatest in the world. Recently, you said you wanted a simpler rewards program. Well, I'm here to say that we've heard you, and starting this month, we're introducing the new and improved Macy's Star Rewards, a reimagined, simpler rewards program starring you. You said you wanted more savings. All members at every level get 25% off any day you choose with Star Passes. You said you wanted free shipping. Gold status means getting free shipping with no minimum, plus the silver status benefit. You said you wanted better rewards. Platinum status means 5% back in rewards every day on all Macy's merchandise, no exclusions, plus gold and silver status benefits. We want Macy's customers to know they are the best customers in the world. And we want each and every one of our cardholders to know that with the new Macy's Star Rewards, it is your time to shine.
Meet the new Macy's Star Rewards, exclusive to cardholders. Discover your status today at Macys.com/Star Rewards.
Ignorance, they say, is the biggest threat to any democracy. Indeed, it is. Plato, a Greek philosopher born in 427 BC, said that ignorance is the root and stem of all evil. Today, members in the Republican Party wear ignorance as a badge of honor, while the rest of the country watch powerless the destruction of a country which was once the envy of the world. The media is the enemy of the country, said Donald Trump. The Democrat legislators are obstructionists for not going along with everything the president wants. The Department of Justice is biased for investigating corruption in the Trump administration. This is the United States of America. Any question? In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false information, distortion of facts, and outright lies, presenting to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a recent survey, 82% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore.
Got just what I need. Everything from my home, you got it for me. I never see selection quite like this. Every color and size in my mind. They got every single thing on my list. And with 70% off, who knows what I'll find? Wayfair, you got just what I need. Everything from my home, you got it for me. Wayfair, and the shipping was free. Now my home's the home I want.
From all of us at Wayfair, find what you need today.
Hello everyone, I am MD and this is the Fourth Branch Project, the first and only program which is dedicated exclusively to those with common sense, a spirit of patriotism, and a determination for a more perfect union. The Fourth Branch Project seeks to emphasize country over party. Its primary objective is to restore interest in civic duty and involvement in social, political issues, discussion, debate, which might impact lives in this generation and quite possibly in future ones. Put differently, the Fourth Branch Project is a journey towards restoring America's greatness, where patriotism is the foundation of every decision, every policy, every word, every action. Said differently, it is a journey to save democracy in America. Stay with us. We will be right back. Hello again. Hello again. I am MD, and this is a special program of the Fourth Branch Project. And we are talking about a sensitive topic: are Republicans dumber than Democrats? The past decade, actually since 2009, 2010, the question has been asked us so many times, has been debated so many times, that, as mentioned on top of the program, that science has taken upon itself to find out the answer to the question. And a number of papers have been published to answer one aspect of the question. Now, there is interestingly enough, an aspect that's not much debated, that I will talk about right after I read some of the papers that were published, and that gives a little bit of insight into the topic of whether Republicans are dumber than Democrats. Now, here's an interesting paper that I'm looking at, that actually trying to make sense of whether that there is a difference between the red brain and the blue brain. Kind of a humorous way of doing the study. So it's maybe it was for that very reason, or maybe there is some aspect of the study that gets those experts to use the red and the blue as a way to differentiate between Democrat and Republican. Now, in 2010, which is pretty much I would say at the cusp of that debate that's been ongoing, and if you had the privilege to spend time beside just in a classroom and rush out of the college campus to go to work or what have you, if you had the opportunity to mingle with your colleagues, it should not be a mystery at this point that this is a question that's been debated a lot. On February 26, 2010, that very study was made and reported on Time magazine. And the study actually is pretty similar to the question I asked here. Say, are liberals smarter than conservatives? Of course, I rephrase the question prior to actually stumbling on this article that was written by the Time. So, are liberals smarter than conservatives? And I'll just read the first sentence that says, the notion that liberals are smarter than conservatives is familiar to anyone who has spent time on a college campus. So exactly what I was saying earlier, that indeed, if you spend time not just studying and rush out of there, then it's a question that your colleagues must have had that kind of debate at some point, at one point or another, especially for those students who stayed on campus. Then that would be definitely a conversation that they would have had. Now, and the study asked the question, is that really true? Now, here's the short answer. Now, the short answer was provided by an individual, name is Kanazawa, who actually wrote a very extensive paper after a very extensive study on the matter to shed light in this topic that seems to even after all these years, all those studies have been done, and a number of papers have answered that very question, but for one reason or another, the question keep coming as if the answer, as if people are looking for a specific answer, or they're looking for an answer to satisfy their own curiosity. So in this particular topic, it seems that Democrats seems to be more or less satisfied with the answer. Republicans seems to be not so much satisfied with the answer. So that's why, maybe that's why the question is still being asked. So the short answer is Kanazawa answered the question this way. He said that more intelligent people are more likely to say they are liberal. Say more intelligent people are more likely to say they are liberal. Now, again, remember, it is, I'm reporting you a study, a specific study that was made, but again, since 2009, there have been really tons of study done for that specific topic, and overwhelmingly the answer, if you want it to be as short as Kanazawa's, the answer is a simple yes. Democrats are much smarter than Republican. But before you throw the towel and say, well, I know from the time that I started to watch it, that's exactly what I would have gotten listening to a liberal. Again, I want to press the very fact that I am neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I don't even consider myself as independent, and there is a reason for shying away from all those labels, is because there are plenty of aspects of the Republican Party that I like. There are plenty of other aspects of the Democrat Party that I like, and when I make a decision, casting a vote, I usually weigh the pros and the cons of which of those things that I like, or I enjoy, or I favor, which one of those things weigh more in that particular answer, in that particular circumstance, and that actually determines which way I vote. So no, I am not a Dem liberal, nor I am a Republican. So the labels are completely off my life in general, because I can be one or the other depending on the particular circumstance. So having said that, and of course I want to remind you that the purpose of the debates, the discussion on the topic, is not for the sake of discussion, because there is an ultimate objective to providing the information, and try to use that information towards achieving a perfect union. Because you probably will hear that probably as often as I have the opportunity to be the host of this program, is the ultimate objective is to achieve a more perfect union. And we know that one of the biggest obstacles to get to that objective, to that goal, is to remove ignorance. And thus far, this is the big stumbling block, this is the big obstacles that seem to stand in the way of getting there. So that's what we intend to do with every topic that we discuss. every topic that we tackle has for ultimate goal to educate and to use that as a step towards that objective, which is a more perfect union. Hello everyone, I am MD and this is the Fourth Branch Project, the first and only program which is dedicated exclusively to those with common sense, a spirit of patriotism, and a determination for a more perfect union. The Fourth Branch Project seeks to emphasize country over party. Its primary objective is to restore interest in civic duty and involvement in social, political issues, discussion, debate, which might impact lives in this generation and quite possibly in future ones. Put differently, the Fourth Branch Project is a journey towards restoring America's greatness, where patriotism is the foundation of every decision, every policy, every word, every action. Said differently, it is a journey to save democracy in America. Stay with us. We will be right back. I do thank you very much for sticking with us, and hope that you have gotten something from the presentation. That was Are Republicans Dumber Than Democrats? That was part 1. There are 3 parts to this series. Now, if you're in a hurry and want to get to the bottom of the discussion on this aspect, I wrote an article by the same title, Are Republicans Dumber Than Democrats?, in which all the details are provided, and as well as the complete video which provide the scientific aspect of the answer to that question. Again, it's not the title is not meant as a way to insult, but rather to shed the light into something that is scientifically proven. Now, that very question is answered through the process of life-related matters. So the question is not universal, is not broad, it actually addresses a very specific part of the comparison between Democrat and Republican. So I hope you join me next time for the next episode in this series. In the meantime, you have a good afternoon and à bientôt.